So it's very likely that right now you're writing or working on your resolutions for 2026. That's one thing that I am doing as well. And for sure, one of my resolutions is to get the store open as soon as possible. And I wanted to share some ideas of things that you can do in this process. I want to call them, rather than resolutions, I want to call them aspirations. And these are just ways for you to have direction as you're thinking through your 2026 resolutions. All right. So I call them aspirations. I just like that word. So here we go for four aspirations for 2026. So the first one is to add a new ritual. And it's fairly simple. Just think about an area in your life that you want to develop more, and think about how can you add minutes dedicated to that activity, whatever that area is or that activity is. It could be meditation, maybe journaling or writing something, or maybe you want to, I don't know, develop your dance skills, whatever that is. Make sure that you block the time for it, and make sure that you find yourself doing something related to that activity in the schedule that you set. Don't judge yourself about whether what you're doing is the highest quality or not of that activity. Just make sure that you're doing it. With practice, the quality of whatever it is that you're doing is going to increase. But if you don't dedicate the time for it, it's never going to happen. You cannot learn how to play the piano if you're not sitting in front of a piano on a regular basis. So that makes me think of the second idea, which is to take a new art. Could be, again, playing the piano maybe. I wish. I've tried. It's, maybe at some point I'll play the piano. But it could be drawing, painting, poetry, literature. There's so many things that you can do in the arts. Film, and by film, I mean you can start recording yourself and posting yourself in YouTube. That's like taking an art, in my opinion. So there's so many things that you can do. And if you're adding a new ritual, maybe you choose an art that you want to pursue to support the rest of your life, and include it in that ritual. So from a stationer to you, my invitation is to take an art like writing, maybe poetry, maybe journaling, or sketching. Get a sketchbook, start drawing, and maybe you have some enjoyment out of that. So the second one is to take an art. Here's the thing. A lot of people that I meet that want to start their process of keeping a journal, sometimes they are overwhelmed by some sort of rules that are set against the practice of reflecting on your everyday. The first one is that, and I think it's not necessarily a mistake. I think it's a good approach, but I think the first challenge is that they tend to over-equip to do that. So they tend to buy a very nice journal to keep that has lots of rules, like, daily questions, and maybe it is dated, right? So you have all of this work that you're committing to do, whether you feel like it or not. So it's great that you have a ritual, but at the same time, it can be overwhelming that you follow the rules of those items. I want to invite you to do it in a different way. Maybe what you do this time, if you're new to journaling, to log, to keeping kind of your own reflections, is to start with just a blank notebook. Write in your own dates, write in your own questions. If you feel like you don't want to write anything one day, don't write anything, right? Just leave it blank and just fill it up later with something else. That's actually how I do my journal. I call it a log, by the way. I call it a store log. And what I do is I just have a blank notebook, and I created my own stamps that has just a rectangle in it. So I can just stamp the rectangle and then I write whatever I want for it. It's usually the date and the topic of what I want to write about. So I'm not restricted by the notebook itself. I write what I want to write. Sometimes a week goes by and I don't write anything. That's fine. The notebook is not going to yell at me because I left spaces blank. I'll come back and continue writing in, because it's a blank notebook, so I can write whatever I want. I write whatever I want to write in it. So when you're thinking about journaling, I think it's a great thing to do, regardless of what rituals you have, regardless of what activities you do. Just to start with a blank notebook and start writing in your thoughts, your ideas. And now that we're talking about journaling, you also may want to keep a scrapbook. Now, scrapbook is actually used for a different type of thing. Scratchbook, I think, is a better term for it. Something where you can just doodle. You feel like you can just write things that have no structure, like little notes that may or may not be used in the future, but you want that to be the place where you can organize your thoughts before you put your thoughts somewhere else. I invite you to do that because sometimes when you have just the one notebook, you may feel a little bit too precious about it, and you may not want to write things on it because you don't want to destroy it. So keep a notebook to destroy and keep the other one, the journal, the diary, the log, on the side so you can write all these committed thoughts as well. And the fourth idea is to write before you type. And I just love that it rhymes. I think it rhymes. Every time, especially now when we can be aided by artificial intelligence so much, we tend to go straight to the digital version of whatever it is we're doing. And in most situations, that's fine. Let's say you're chatting, you're replying to an email, that might be fine. But some aspects of your work, of what you do, may need deeper thought. And for that, my invitation is to not start on a digital surface to do it. If you start typing in, you might be tempted by getting the assistance of that AI, right? So ChatGPT may suggest something, Copilot, Gemini, I don't know all the names. They might suggest what to do. And at that point, you sort of lose agency and you're letting the AI do the thinking for you. And I think the thinking should be done by you. The tools can help you. They can help you with your grammar, your structure a little bit, right? But the decisions, the thoughts should be your own. And my invitation, at least as an aspiration for 2026, is that you have lots of clarity of thought before you start moving into the digital platform. So write before you type is my 2026 aspiration for you. So, for aspirations for 2026, start a new ritual, take a new art, journal or do a diary or keep a log, and finally, write before you type, like so. I wish you the best for 2026, and I really wish that inspiration and results and good things find you when you're working, when you are creating. So I'll be seeing you either from the store or from the office.